I am going to pass off to Deborah Weinswig, the CEO of Coresight Research and my wonderful partner for Trailblazers, who's going to tell you about the market opportunities for all of this inclusive and adaptive world. And guess what? It's much larger than you actually think. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. So we are going to bore you with the numbers. So I love the topic of this conference, which is one size does not fit all. So this idea of inclusive design and inclusive clothing, so how you define that, which is alternative sizes, so plus size and adaptive clothing. The size of the market, and I was having a fantastic conversation before we started with a former client of mine, Terry Donahue, and we talked about why all of a sudden is there so much interest. I mean, as Rick said, we had significantly more attendance here, and thank you all for coming so much. Because retailers are looking for opportunity right now, right? I mean, retail comps are not where we would like them to be. But if you think about the areas of opportunity, adaptive clothing and plus sizes have been significantly underserved. And if we can start to think about areas of opportunity for fashion and design, these are two of them where there's significant opportunity. And I think social media is starting to catch up, and the designers are starting to catch up. And if you look at this market opportunity, it's a $133 billion market opportunity. That's a big US market. And so we're going to start looking at the plus size market. So in the US alone, 25% of consumers say that they browse plus size clothing. Another 30% say they browse petite. That's over 50% who are quote unquote special sizes. Well, for any of you who've ever gone into a US retailer, you'll see that if you're outside of the standard, let's call it 0 to 14, you usually have to shop in a different area, potentially a different floor. Well, I don't know about you, but I want to shop with my friends. Having been a petite customer, I would usually be relegated, especially at Saks, to the 9th floor. So, and being at another retailer who will remain nameless, if I was with a plus-size friend, I would have to shop next to maternity. So I think there's a significant opportunity to improve. This, to me, if you look at the plus size, we only have 0.03 stores per 1,000 in the size 14 plus. Yet in the other specialty, we have 1.67. And 50% of women are size 14 and above. And then if you look at the size in terms of the plus size market versus standard size, we're seeing significant growth, 3.6 times faster growth than standard size. And if we start to look at what's happening with regards to online sales, there's huge opportunity here with regards to the department stores. This is a retailer, and for those of you who know Shopify, they now have 600,000 stores, which start with a click and then sometimes turn into a brick. Fashion Nova is one of those, which is $1 billion store right now. So what I like about Fashion Nova is it's all sizes, easy to shop in one click. And they basically have anywhere from XS to 3X. And to me, this is one of the reasons that they've had such tremendous success. They basically make it very easy to shop, and they also are very inclusive for sizes XS to 3X. If you start to look at the runway as well, we saw a very unique and a significant change in spring of 2018 if we look at what we're starting to see from a plus-size model perspective. So as we start to look at the adaptive clothing market, according to the Census Bureau, 12.6% of Americans are disabled. And that would mean that the adaptive apparel market is $43 billion. However, if we go into most of the retailers today, we don't necessarily see anything that would necessarily call out for adaptive. And I think that that is the opportunity that all of us are seeing. I spent a significant amount of time online, and you'll see some of the findings that we saw. This is what we found. I mean, quite horrific, actually. So adaptive clothing is historically functional, not fashionable. And this green hooded person in the wheelchair, that was on Amazon. So I would tell you, I think that there's a huge opportunity in this market, and I think we've just begun. And on the social media side, I think there's also an opportunity for us to connect in different communities. We ourselves spend a ton of opportunity in the social media perspective, but there's also an opportunity for those to connect in different communities. We looked at disabled fashion, disabled and cute, wheelchair girl, and look at the different hashtags and the amount of different connections. And designers are starting to address some of the numerous segments and subsegments. So this was one of the opportunities that we saw, slick chicks. So we always think that people look at the outside, not necessarily the inside. This is just the beginning. And we also started to see other areas of opportunity. Zappos and Target are also two of the significant retailers who are starting to design. Cat & Jack is one of the private labels that Target is just beginning. And if we look towards the future, Anna Sui just started, and then down the road from me, we have the Cooper Hewitt Museum, which has until September 3rd, has a, if you will, exhibit, Access and Ability Exhibition. And with that, I will turn it over. And we have 2 extensive reports, one on plus size, and also one on the adaptive market. Thank you very much.